The classical approach? You read every single book. The quantum approach? You've been told it's like reading all billion books at once. That's a lie. The real power of a quantum computer isn't magic parallelism. It's something far more subtle and far more strange. It's the power to choreograph waves of probability, to make wrong answers cancel themselves out, leaving only the right ones standing. This is the story of Grover's algorithm. Not the myth you've heard, but the tool as it actually is. A tool that gives us a very specific, very real quadratic speedup for unstructured search. And understanding it is the key to understanding quantum computing itself. In the next 8 minutes, you'll understand the trick. In 10, you'll understand its limits. And you'll see why quadratic doesn't always mean fast. First, let's kill the myth. You see this everywhere. A quantum computer tries all answers at once. A glowing grid of infinite possibilities, all checked in parallel. Sounds good. Feels intuitive. It is fundamentally wrong. The reality is about amplitudes, not just probabilities. Think of each possible answer not as a light that's on or off, but as an arrow. This arrow has a length, its amplitude, and a direction, its phase. To get the probability of seeing an answer, you square its amplitude. And because they are arrows, they can interfere. Arrows pointing in the same direction add up, reinforcing each other. This is constructive interference. Arrows pointing in opposite directions cancel out. This is destructive interference. Quantum computing is a game of controlling this cancellation. Now, let's define the problem Grover solves. Unstructured search. We have a black box, an oracle, that recognizes a solution. We give it an item, and it tells us yes or no. We have no other information. No sorting, no clues. Just the needle in the haystack formalized. So where do we start? We prepare our quantum system in a state of uniform superposition. This means every possible answer has the same small amplitude. We have a vast, flat field of arrows, all pointing in the same direction. No answer is special. Yet, the first step is the oracle. We run our superposition through the black box. But instead of just telling us yes or no, the oracle does something clever. It flips the phase of the correct answer. All the other arrows are untouched. But the one pointing to our solution is now facing the opposite direction. Now for the second and most ingenious step, the diffusion operator. It takes this entire field of arrows and reflects every single one of them about their average height. Think of it as an amplifier. The one arrow that was pointing down is now catapulted high above the rest. The others, which were all slightly above the average, are now pushed down. And that's one iteration of Grover's algorithm. We haven't found the answer yet, but we've dramatically increased its amplitude. The probability of finding the correct answer if we measure now is much, much higher. And all it took was one query to the oracle and one diffusion operation. Pause here. We're going to run it again. We apply the oracle, flipping the phase of our target. Then we apply the diffusion operator. Which bar do you think will grow the most now? And why? What we are really doing is a rotation. In a high-dimensional space, we can define a plane with just two vectors. One representing the correct answer, and one representing the sum of all incorrect answers. Our initial state is mostly aligned with the incorrect vector. The oracle flip is a reflection across the incorrect vector. The diffusion is a reflection across our initial state. Two reflections make a rotation. Each iteration rotates our state vector closer to the correct answer. The angle of each rotation is small, but it's constant. We keep rotating, and the amplitude of the correct answer grows linearly with each step. Since probability is amplitude squared, the probability grows quadratically. This is the source of the square root n speedup. But you can't just keep iterating forever. If you rotate too far, you'll pass the correct answer, and the amplitude will start to decrease again. The optimal number of iterations is around pi over 4 times the square root of n. Go past that, and your chances of finding the answer get worse, not better. So we have a quadratic speedup. That means for a problem that takes 1,000,000 steps classically, we might only need 1,000 quantum steps. That sounds amazing, but quadratic is not exponential, and quadratic is not free. The biggest cost is the oracle. We've treated it as a magical black box. But building a quantum oracle that can recognize a solution without destroying the superposition is an incredibly difficult engineering challenge. For many problems, the cost of building and running the oracle is so high, it wipes out the quantum advantage entirely. And then there's noise. Quantum states are fragile. The slightest interaction with the outside world can destroy our carefully choreographed interference. A real, fault-tolerant quantum computer will likely need thousands, maybe millions of physical qubits for every single logical qubit in our algorithm. You often hear Grover's algorithm mentioned in the context of breaking encryption. And in theory, it can weaken symmetric cryptographic keys by effectively having the key length. But in practice, the massive overhead of fault tolerance means that for now, and for the foreseeable future, your AES encryption is safe. So what is the takeaway? Quantum speedups are not magic. They don't come from trying all possibilities at once. They come from the clever, controlled use of interference, from choreographing cancellation, not from doing infinite work. Grover's algorithm is a beautiful, powerful tool, but it's a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. And understanding its true power and its true limits is the first step to understanding the future of computing. If you want to see how this compares to the world-breaking power of Shor's algorithm, or how these algorithms are being implemented on real hardware, comment next below.